It's going down in the political climate, huh? You heard about Alabama trying to pass bills to ban most kinds of abortions, but obviously what they've said, they even recognize that what they're doing is unconstitutional. Roe v. Wade has, as they say, settled that. It's settled law. A Supreme Court decision. Usually it sets the precedent, you know? Because, I mean, obviously there's switcheroos. There's evolutions, if it's considered to be evolutions, but usually it's not regressions. Like separate but equal was if I'm not mistaken, a Supreme Court ruling in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then obviously that got overturned because that was legally racist. And it was just trying to justify uncivilized behavior, unevolved behavior. So I guess if you feel that way, if you're a Republican, if you feel that strongly about abortions, the interesting thing about abortions with Republicans is that the way they shout about their pro-life feelings, to me, what I've said is, and I've heard this from somebody, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if I thought about this myself or not, so I don't take credit for this. But Republicans are pro-birth. It's not that they're pro-life, they're pro-birth. You don't hear them talking about, we need to go to the inner cities and help feed the poor. We need to help the little children that were born into unfortunate, abject squalor. We need to do something about them. We need to help them, the little, pure-hearted minority children. Yo, you know, it's funny because they're not even just, that'd be the weirdest thing to hear them say. That'd be weird. I haven't heard something like that, or I haven't even seen anything like that since you've seen images of pilgrims going to the natives, you know, and even if they ruined many native people's lives, and not just on the North American continent, but in other parts of the world, even if Europeans who were guided by Christian motivation or any religious motivation, you know, at least I heard they did some horrific things, but they were being true to their calling, you could say. Like let's not even draw that comparison. Well, my point is that conservatives and Republicans, same people, sort of. They're pro-life. They say they're pro-life, but they're really pro-birth. When that baby is born, who gives a fuck what kind of mother he or she has, what kind of environment he or she is born into? Who cares? They just need to be born. And so that you might say, hey, you know, the killing of a fetus is horrible. See, this is where you get really complicated and uncomfortable, because I can't say I cannot say that the death of a fetus through abortion is worse than the death of a child in a poor area, starving, not having resources. Because one of those beings has tasted life. They've, as Peter Singer put it, a continued interest in existing. Well, that's how philosophers tend to put it, I suppose. I don't know if Peter Singer coined that terminology. He's an Australian philosopher. But when you have a continued desire to exist, and you've more or less become addicted to this life itself, and all its trappings, and you have desires and wants now, there should be more intervention there than with the being that has yet to even come to understand anything. That sounds fucked up, because no one, and you know, obviously if I had all the power, nobody would be meeting their end in suffering at all. Nobody would be suffering needlessly. It's a very uncomfortable and difficult topic to talk about. I get it. But I will stand by my statement that the Republicans that I see shouting from the rooftops about pro-life, what they really are is pro-birth. I don't see them caring about life in every respect. Only life in the womb. That's it. And that's nothing to brag about. That's kind of fucking stupid, actually. That is all you care about. Now that y'all warmed up and ready to laugh. Yo, what? My man started off talking about abortion. No bueno. We for real should be passing out rubbers in the poorer areas, especially. The thing about rubbers, I'm so glad I was convinced to wear rubbers and persuaded to wear condoms. Just like I was persuaded to not do drugs at a young age. Like I never mess with anything. Like barely ever even drink liquor. When I did it, it was always gross to me. When I was younger. I see now why people drink liquor. I get it. I get it now. When I was young, it just wasn't my shit. And sex was my shit. And I'm so glad that I was persuaded to wear rubbers. I can't stress that enough. A lot of stress was removed from my life because I did not know the significant difference without one. Oh my God. I remember once just doing it like just a little bit without one because the girl was saying that like she preferred it without. I've heard that before. That some women even prefer you not wear a condom because it feels better for them. Okay. Well, I tried for about 30 seconds and I was like, nah, it's too fucking amazing. I am sorry. I need this to be desensitized a bit. I'm not used to this. It's too much. I'm not trying to summon the fucking self-control necessary to not have problems after this. You know what I'm saying? And you think that it's like, hey, Marcus, it's not only you shouldn't wear a condom because of pregnancy, but also the diseases out there. Yeah, well, dumbass young Marcus was more scared of pregnancy than anything. Pregnancy, to me, was more serious. You know why pregnancy was the scariest thing for me? And I was like just ultra paranoid. The majority of the time. Because if I would have got something, that'd be like on me. And then I'd have to deal with it personally. But if I got a girl pregnant, man, like fuck, now I have to worry about this other life form. This other life form that I'm not going to run away from. This other life form that I don't want to ignore it. But I'm also honest and have to admit that I'm a little bit too self-absorbed and I'm a little bit too, I require a little bit too much psychological maintenance on my own at a singular level for my own stability to care about another being, a child, a baby. Didn't want it. And I'm glad I didn't have any. I had a couple of scares. I had like 2 scares, I think. Really, it's only one that made sense. The other ones didn't make sense. It was just paranoia. I'm sorry, the coffee's in me. It was just paranoia. And, man, it's good that I ain't have a kid at an early age. You understand? You understand how... God, I wouldn't have grown at all, man. Some people, I ain't mad at them. I get the impulse to have a child. I understand it. We're wired to want to have offspring. I'm sorry to make it sound so primitive, but I feel it. You gotta feel me on this. That's what we're fucking wired to do. Okay? We want a little me. And a lot of times, put the wiring aside. A lot of people feel that children will make their lives better. They feel that children will fulfill them. And oftentimes children do, it looks like. People are more fulfilled when they have kids. All right. If that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. If you're ready to place the emphasis of your attention and energy into this little you, I get it. That project is something, if you consciously choose, if you read all the warnings, read all the warning information, and you've accepted it because you that's how badly you want a child. All right, word up. But some folks ain't thinking about that shit at all, boy. They're not thinking about the consequences. They ain't thinking about it. How much is going to be an anchor on all that they want to do. I was going to drag them down. And it's not the child's fault. It's not the child's fault. You made that fucking decision. And I'm not even talking about that. I'm not even talking about the ones that are like 100% accidents. Okay? I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm talking about the ones where people make the fucking choice to do it. And then they wonder why the life is extra stressful with a side of stress. It's like, look, man, the way I look at it, I could barely take care of myself. Real shit. How the fuck I'm gonna take care of a newborn? You know? It's gonna be a struggle that, and I've always said this too, and I mean it intellectually. There is a curiosity in me, obviously, to see what I can produce. You know, just to impregnate and to be like, oh, okay, what's with my DNA mixed with your DNA. That's what it looks like, huh? have a little Marcus. That is in me, but it's also in me to recognize that I don't want to be so conceited, and that the kid has to be of my own genetics. In all honesty, I've said that, like, if I were unable to have a child with the person I was with, and we wanted to take care of a little one, then I'm not against adoption. Adoption is not crazy to me. It need I do. That's the idealistic part of me, I think. That constantly wants to be better than my humanity, than the primitive aspects of my humanity, I should say. I want to love everybody as if I did care about them in a profound way, first of all. And that's very difficult and a trying thing to do. And so I also want to believe that it's possible for me to this kid that's been abandoned by mother and father for whatever reason, even if the reasons make sense. This kid has no parents, and I want to believe that it's possible to love a child as if it were your own genetics in the same way, because you just decide to, because you made the choice, and you can substitute the whole it's my DNA for it's still my child, you know? I just want to believe that our love, it's not that I even just want to believe that. I know it's possible. I guess I want to believe that I'm capable of doing it. And not only do I want to believe it, I've seen evidence that I'm capable of it. I guess what I'm saying is that that's the kind of person that I want to always be, I suppose, because I'm capable of being both the primitive and the sophisticated. And so I guess what I'm saying is I want the person that I want to continually and persistently be is the kind of person who could say hey to this kid and love the kid as my own, were I to adopt. But yeah, man, I think it's possible for you to love everybody the same way that you love the people you're close to. 100%. The love that you have for your significant other, for your friends, for your family, I do believe that love could be transferred to a complete stranger, if it makes sense to do so. And I don't think there's anything bad about that. I guess what we're scared of is not being special with each other. Like, if you show the same amount of love to Fred as you showed to Jason, then Fred's not special anymore. I don't know about that. It's about more things than just like the degree of warmth that you show to a person, the kindness in that moment. It's about way more action than that. If you were then also, let's say Fred's your boyfriend, if you were then also like trying to spend the same amount of time with Jason as you did with Fred, and let's say that then you want to be you want to make love to Jason the same way you make with, now you're just trying to have both of the same thing. And yeah, I can understand why that's a problem, but even then that's a problem because we're just so sexually possessive, which is an interesting thing as well. The polyamorous are interesting. The ones that I believe that there's people who truly can be that. I think it's probably rare as fuck for some. If you don't know what polyamory is, it's when you have a group of people getting it on with each other. Let's say like 5, and it's like, let's say it's 2 guys and 3 girls. The guy can get with like 2 of the girls, and the 3 girls can get with each other as well as one of the guys, or just everybody's getting with everybody. However it goes down. And this one girl said a very interesting term before that I heard talking about polyamory. And she said this word called compersion. And essentially what it is it's like the opposite of jealousy, where if you saw somebody that you were attracted to, even if you had physical intimacy with, you had engaged in physical intimacy with, if you saw that person getting with somebody else, compersion is where you would get off, in a sense. You'd be delighted. You'd be very pleased for them to be with somebody. Because, right? It's like the opposite of fucking jealousy that makes you feel good. I ain't mad at it. Jealousy makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Like us being possessive. The thing is, I agree with the notion that if everybody was polyamorous, if this was a big free-for-all, then it'd be so much more chaotic in this bitch. It'd be society would be a little bit more dysfunctional, much more drama, many more issues were polyamory to be a norm. Sure, yeah. But the thing is, it's not a norm, So what are we talking about? And that's why it's interesting to me if anybody could pull it off. I heard that usually there's a lot of problems. People do end up becoming jealous. People do end up favoring one person over the other and whatnot. It gets really complicated. It gets rough. That's why it's not a norm. I think we don't have the bandwidth for all that. Maybe when you're younger, you do. When your attention span's a bit more ADD-ish, I think polyamory could probably get you right. But even then, some people are very much so wired to be monogamous as fuck. And not even monogamous as fuck, but like, they're not even like sexual in that way. Sex ain't that serious. They just want a person, a significant other, and they just want to keep it moving. All the extra is too much. And so that's what's up. But the fact that there's even people out there rolling like this is dope. I'm glad that we are becoming more sexually explorative, experienced. I know he went down in the 70s and whatnot with all that, but let's just question and experiment right now, man. Before this bitch over, you gonna blink. You gonna blink and your ass gonna be fucking dead. Do you understand that? Do you understand that you're gonna blink and you're gonna be 50, 60, 70, 80? Life is passing us by in this bitch. Does that mean do something risky that could like destroy your life? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like even have these conversations. Even talk about like pro-lifers really being pro-birthers. Like they're even talking about that polyamory and compersion. It's interesting, man. Let's explore. Human beings, we've always been exploring shit. We constantly want to. My man Elon Musk is constantly launching motherfucking rockets into orbit and whatnot. Yo, we're trying to see what the deal is in this thing called existence, with this thing called reality, with these people called humans, right? And that should expand to other sentient life. We definitely should be caring more about that. Also, we should be caring more just about everything that we think we know already. We don't know what the fuck. Like just like people having kids for the sake of like thinking that it's going to, make them immortal. Like, it's going to add something to their life, but then it really just takes away a lot in the long run. Like, that should be discussed for them then, man. Like, is it really what you should be doing? Should you be perhaps more addicted to maybe self-improvement? Will that help you out and fulfill you more than feeling as though a child is the antidote to your problems? These things I rarely hear discussed. I don't fucking hear them discussed enough. And that's why I feel like people can so easily do that, because like, you ain't gonna criticize somebody when they have a kid. You're not gonna criticize somebody when they fucking, when I see pro-lifers, I don't feel like telling them that they're pro-birth, having that conversation. Laziness has a lot to do with it. It's a stamina issue. It's definitely a stamina issue, because at the end of the day, whatever the fuck's going on, you got your own problems, right? You got your own shit, right? And if you're like me, you're so fucking stupid most of the time, and so your brain is just so so chaotic and cloudy that, man, you need to be much more simple. You need to live a very simple and boring life for you to keep your sanity. That's me. Welcome to my brain. And who knows, man? I'm just talking. I'm just trying to churn this shit out. Dude. It's a good money-saving tip I heard, and it's always lasted with me. It's from Stephen Merchant in the Ricky Gervais podcast. He said, it's a long time ago, but he said, mind the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves. Now, pounds that's British currency, or the currency in England, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm an idiot. But my point is that, so watch the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. I think that's so true. If you watch where your pennies are going, why do you need to watch where your dollars are going? If you pay attention to the fact that you spend your money, that the little bit you spend, that the pennies you spend are on some bullshit, then of course you'll be spending your money on dumb shit with the dollars. I know that might seem like it shouldn't be that way, but that's usually the correlation. Like, if you just don't give a fuck about where you're putting your pennies, then I am left to assume that you probably aren't paying attention to where you're putting your dollars. All I know is this: for me, that money saving tip works very well, and you don't have to even worry about balancing nothing or wondering about this or that. Like, where your money is going because you give a fuck about the cheap shit you spend it on. You basically become a penny pincher. Fuck, basically become stingy as hell with your damn money, essentially. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That'll get you somewhere. Motherfuckers out here materialistic as hell. Yo, you know how much money I've saved from not buying clothes that I don't fucking need, man? Just to look good for people. For what? Who the fuck are these people that I'm looking good for? That are just, the tables have turned somehow. I've activated something in them that's worth receiving from them. I'm so stylistic today. I dress this way for you to look good. And I know somebody's right now saying they dress that way for themselves. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. But let's just humor me for a second, and let's just assume that the majority of people are buying expensive clothing and trying to be super fashionable for other people. Here's the thing: I love fashion on some real shit. I feel like in another life I was a fashion designer. I was the kind of fashion designer that like just wears like the same clothes all the time, like I do now. I mean, I wear clean clothes. Don't get me wrong, but it's the same. Like I have like 20 black shirts, 20 white shirts. I have like a uniform. And but my point is that and I need those amounts too, by the way. I wear them so often and so frequently, and I interchange them so much that I need multiple amounts. But I would have been the fashion designer that didn't really give a fuck about being fashionable himself, except every now and then, just like how I am now. If I was rich, I'd be buying some legit shit, but I wouldn't be tripping. It's cheap. You know what it is? Ironically, all that expensive shit, it's a very cheap reward. It's a very cheap reward we get in return for looking great for other people. They think you look good, boom, you're now great to them for that moment. But like, that's not sustainable. Because then what do you have to do to continue to get that, receive that same kind of, to make that same kind of impression? You have to keep it going. You got to continually be that kind of person that impresses in that way. And if you don't, fine. But I don't know about you. I have been told before, like, why aren't you, I'm glad now. Shit, now my hair is leaving the station. And so I just shave that shit off. But in the past, they'd be like, oh, like, why don't you get a haircut again? You know, oh, you didn't shave today, or we need to shave. Like, motherfuckers always got something to tell you about your looks because they want to be pleased by your looks. Fuck you. That my looks need to be for your sake. What kind of shit is that, man? Like, we worried about the wrong things. You worried about the wrong things if a motherfucker's appearance means so much to you. Healthiness means a lot. I think that kind of appearance is something. If somebody out here looking sickly or anorexic, you know what I'm saying? Or obese. Okay, we could talk about, let's get to talking about like what we can do to change shit at a fucking molecular level. But if you're talking about just aesthetically and physically, you know, you do this, do that. Oh, your shoes. I remember the first time I was told about my fucking shoes in middle school. First time I was met with materialistic thought. And I've spoken about this before, but I remember homegirl said, she said, boy, what kind of shoes them is? And I was like, huh? I was so innocent, yo. I wasn't innocent, but I was innocent compared to what I was dealing with. He said, boy, them K-Swiss, them shoes is lame. And I remember I said, I had K-Swiss on, these white K-Swiss. I didn't know nothing about what was cool. And I said, at least I have shoes. And I was so serious. I was like, what? This matters? Why does this matter? Yo, this matters now. These kids still give a fuck about that shit. Ain't that sad, man? These kids, especially in these minority, impoverished communities, shoes and clothing and hairstyles mean everything. It's some indication of fashion. I mean, some indication of some kind of prosperity, even if it's a fucking deceitful kind of prosperity. Just like, but I think it comes from the top down, man. It has to come from the top down, no? Like, these little kids shouldn't be giving a fuck about that. These kids should be caring about being respectful, about being polite, about being fucking intelligent. Does it look like they give a fuck about that in these? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not in the hood. This is not the hood, but this is definitely sort of the more quote unquote, you know, this is where poverty is, so to speak. It's not real poverty, but it's that kind of poverty that, in contrast to a upper middle class area, you would call it like the impoverished area, because it's like, you know, we all know what the real fucking hood looks like, or many of us do, and this ain't the damn hood, thank God. But my point is this, that these little kids out here got the same dumbass concerns as children did when I was growing up. I'll tell you one thing, at least I don't hear about, you know, when I was in the 5th grade, I remember starter jackets being banned because in New Orleans, kids was getting killed over that. I mean, fucking Wayne had from New Orleans get killed for Jordans. He wasn't lying about that shit. Motherfuckers would get killed for that kind of stuff in New Orleans, especially when I was a kid. It was really bad, really bad. You weren't allowed to wear a fucking starter jacket because it was just, it triggered violence too much. Ain't that fucking crazy? And but now, man, like all this worrying about the Jordans and all, it's ironic because a lot of people who care about this shit be religious too. It'd be like, what? Yo, backwards. You're backwards. But little kids should not be worried about this shit. They should be that's why these shows get away with being so fucking stupid. I feel like creativity, the standard for what's creative, has become lower and lower. Like we're getting way more shows. The production value is higher than it's ever been. But what we're getting is shit content. Because the standard for what's creative is so low. And kids don't give a fuck because what are they being challenged with? They got their phones in school and shit. The hell, man? Can you even imagine having your phone in school? Man, I can't imagine that. Like, my attention span was already just completely and utterly jacked. I would have been, I'll tell you straight up what I've been. I would have been in the bathroom stalls looking at porn or something on my phone. 100%. I'm just going to be all the way real. I never had anything close to that opportunity. I didn't have a cell phone. I had a cell phone in 2003, and it was the green screen Nokia phone that had the Snake game on it. And that motherfucker ain't have no, texting wasn't a thing. People weren't even saying LOL. I remember gamers were the only people that I saw say LOL, ROFL, LMAO. And so when I started seeing normal people say LOL and all that stuff, it was like weirding me out. Cause I was like, wait a minute, only the gamers say this. Like normal people are starting to say this. I thought this was like for the nerds. Cause it's like a nerd only kind of thing. I remember the first time I saw LMAO when I was like fucking 15 or something. Like, what the fuck is that? But then it became everybody. Fine. Was it word up? Fine. But my point in all this shit is that how are kids not going to become stupider when they are being taught by stupid adults with stupid principles and stupid priorities, and on top of that, their attention spans are all being compromised by every game and every fucking visual form of auditory stimulation under the sun, where substance doesn't matter. It's just volume. Volume is all that fucking matters. I'm just talking, man. I'm just fucking talking in this bitch. You understand? I'm just fucking talking. God damn it, I'm talking. If I ruled the world, imagine that. I free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls. Yeah. Mind if I rule the world? Something for a day. And we'll walk right up to the sun, hand in hand. We'll walk right up to the sun. You must stand. Yeah. Alright, I'm done. I got it in, yo. Woo! Shit, I got it in. Honest talking number 10. What's happening? What's happening? I made it. They said it wouldn't be done. Now you over there looking like a nun. Yo, you know what the costume to a nun is called? The costume. The outfit. Do you know what the fucking outfit? Excuse my blasphemy. Do you know what the outfit for a nun is called, though? It's called a habit. You didn't know that. There's no way that you knew the outfit for a nun was called a habit. I was writing a story, and there was a nun involved. And I was like, what is the outfit for a nun called? So I looked up the damn name, and I saw that it was a habit. And all I could think to myself was, why do I never hear anyone ever fucking say that? You've never heard, the nun with that habit. Look at that habit she has on. Oh, that habit is weird. That's a dirty habit. Oh, that's a very clean habit. Oh, did you hang up your habit? She's dry cleaning her habit. No, you never fucking hear habit used. But that's what a nun's outfit is called. It's called a habit. What a crazy world we live in. All right, I'm done. I almost kicked my fucking coffee over messing with y'all. All right, y'all. Peace out.